Hello, PDHP parents and community. It's Carrie Ann Fitzgerald for What's Good Wednesday. I'm so glad to see you here today. I'm sorry I did not see you on Monday. I did have to take a day off, but I'm back and I hope that you are well and that your family is doing well. As I had mentioned on our Facebook page, this would be the week of graduation and getting ready for step-ups in our elementary schools. And I connect with that because I had for a number of years been an 8th grade teacher. So that was kind of the fabric of this time. And I know that we're really at a loss without those milestone events. And I know that there are different ways that they're being addressed. So I do say to you, congratulations, at this point. If you do have graduates at home, still celebrate. It is, a big event, a big accomplishment for everyone. There's a lot of feelings involved, a lot of excitement, maybe a lot of loss, at this point that normally would happen. Some negative feelings come up because, you're leaving a place that you've spent so much time with and you've made so much connection with, and it's a lot to kind of handle. So just be aware of that. But definitely do something special for your graduates and for yourselves to mark this important time and make it that joyful June that we were talking about, okay? I do want to drive home that despite everything that is going on in our world, in our community, in our hearts, the work that we are doing, whether it's within our family or our jobs or our activism, I just want you to make sure that you are taking care of yourselves. There's a lot of back and forth on this. Parents shouldn't have self-care and people shouldn't have self-care at this time, but it is important to carve out these little moments to refresh yourself. Whether it's 30 seconds, like we've said before, maybe you are drinking your tea. Take 30 seconds to really taste it, to feel the temperature of it, to smell the aroma of it, to enjoy that taste. Take those 30 seconds and you'll notice there's just a shift, okay? If you have more time, of course, do the things that will make you feel well. Maybe it's revamping our schedules a little bit. I've had to do that throughout the course of this time of us being in distance learning and quarantine. I've had to constantly shift around schedules. So don't be afraid of doing that. You'll find something that you'll tweak that works for you. Definitely get your rest. Definitely stay hydrated. Please eat well. Please make sure that you're moving in some cases. A lot of us may be, attuned to a screen for a lot of hours, Try to set a timer, maybe every half hour. Just get up to stretch, a really good deep body stretch. One of our counselors had written about that a few weeks ago, just really kind of stretching, maybe leaning down to touch your toes and letting your whole body stretch for about 45 seconds. It kind of works out all the stiffness of your muscles sitting for so long. Because if you think about it, even if you were leaving your house to go to work, that's movement that now we've lost, okay? So I've noticed myself very stiff lately, so I do have to be aware of stopping to do that. We talked over the past few weeks about different self-care practices for yourself, for your kids. We talked about mind jars. We talked about guided visualizations, meditation, spiritual practices, prayers, rosary beads, prayer beads. We talked about grounding activities. We talked about progressive muscle relaxation. We talked about nature. Even if we can't get out in nature, and it's always a good thing. They say that if you want to if you have the availability, if you're in a park or if you have a yard, or if you're by the beach or something like that, if you can take off your shoes and stand in the grass, take off your shoes, stand in the sand, and just be aware of that grounding sensation. That's very helpful. And if you can't do that, look out your window and notice. Take a few seconds to really notice what's out there. How many trees? What color are the leaves? How many people are on the street? What do the clouds look like? What's the color of the sky? Do you see any birds? Do you see any animals? Are there dogs being walked? What do you hear? Do you hear the birds chirping? Do you hear planes flying by? That kind of thing. Just ground into it, okay? Another thing that can be very grounding is distraction. You know, distracting ourselves from anxieties, distracting ourselves from our minds going to that spiral of what's next, what's next, what's next, and provoking that stress for us. Staying present. Now, sometimes distraction is a problem. For example, if our kids are doing distance learning and then all of a sudden they switch screens to play on Roblox or something like that, that could be a problem. That's distraction. But a healthy distraction would just be to get your mind out of that spiral and kind of retrain your mind. So thinking of things like this, a category. Perhaps you're sitting in a room and you notice that there's something blue in front of you. Look around and find other things that are blue. A lot of times what happens, people will start to go, oh, okay, my pants are blue. We forget, getting that mindfulness in. So looking around, I'm looking around at blue things. I see a blue label over here, blue walls, blue toy, blue shirt on my daughter who's sitting across from me, a blue picture, a blue hat. So just doing something like that. Any color that you see, just see what else you can find, okay? Counting backwards, maybe counting backwards from 100. If you really want to challenge yourself and you need to stay focused, counting backwards from 100 by threes. If you're a numbers person, you probably would really like that. Reciting a poem or a song, whether out loud or, quietly to yourself in your head. Okay. Positive self-talk. We can do this, we got this, come on, Carrie Ann, that kind of thing. Something to attune yourself to. Mantras and affirmations, prayers. These are all things, these words that we don't have to really consider so greatly, but they make such an impact. Even things like saying, I'm enough, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I'm brave, whatever it is, getting into that repetition. A category and naming things within a category. I always remember in the beginning of this, one of the counselors said she had posed a question to the students. She said, what makes you happy? And she was flooded with a treasure trove of pictures of puppies and dogs. So maybe it's dog breeds, naming a whole bunch of different dog breeds, or if you like sports, naming the baseball teams that you can think of. Something like that. I remember as a kid, we would take a lot of road trips, and at some point, inevitably, from the back of the station wagon, you would hear those words from us kids. Are we there yet? How much longer? So, the distraction for that was listening to the radio. There are so many times I remember everyone singing a popular song that was on the radio, the whole entire car that was literally packed. My dad would often get us to play geography games, naming as many states or as many capitals or as many cities as you can, or linking the words somehow. And I used to do that as well with my students. If there was a test or a project going on, sometimes we would stop and play a game like that so that they would have that time to just kind of unload, still using their minds, of course, but just in a really focused sense. Just being a little more mindful of how you're training your brain, how you're using your mind, okay? So that was another grounding technique that you could use. Again, please take care of yourselves always. When you do that for yourself, you're able to lift up others. You're able to continue the hard work that we have going on, the important work that we have going on, and continue to come back and check in. I will be posting, of course, some of the great shares from our staff and our sister agencies and other thoughts that are going on. You're always welcome to reach out to me. We also have our family fun night Fridays, and while we're winding down a little bit on this, we will still continue on until the end of June. So I wish you well. Again, congratulations if you have graduates and stepping up going on. I wish you all the best. Take care.